co-founder and CEO of Accountingfly, and we're going to talk about employer branding. And we're going to talk about why it's absolutely critical in recruiting CPAs in a time of underemployment, or whatever the opposite is of unemployment is, because we are in a tough market. But it's not all bad news. So we're going to talk about recruitment branding, and the keyword is branding. The keyword is about what that means and how I define it for the accounting industry, like what makes a great place to work, which is really the brand, the promise that you're making an audience, and then how do you distribute that? What's working, what's not working. We've talked to over, goodness, 800 employers of accountants, some who are doing it really well, some who are not having any luck at all, some who are doing it well and still not having luck because it's a tough market. And so what does that mean, and what are the key takeaways? What this is not is a marketing guide or sort of marketing 101. I'm not a marketer. I am a recruitment branding professional, and I'll tell you more about my background in a little bit. But really, this is about practicality in an era where it's tough to hire CPAs. Also, I'll tell you up front, because Accountingfly, we call it an inbound recruiting platform, meaning we're a job board that produces a lot of employer branding tactics for our clients. And because that's what we do, I'm going to be talking about Accountingfly. I do not want this to come across as a sales pitch. My objective is to help you. And I welcome your feedback if that's the case. Although for some of the folks on the call, I think Accountingfly could be an incredible resource. And we'd love to talk to you if that's the case. But really, this is about what are the principles we need to be looking at. I'll show you some of the things that we do, and then I'm going to show you some things we need to be doing that we don't do. Okay. Lastly, feedback. Jeff@accountingfly.com, or I'm at Twitter @JeffPhillips_. So my goal is that we keep doing this. I think that we are in the middle of the most difficult time to hire CPAs. I'll tell you why in a second. And when I mean hiring CPAs, I'm specifically talking about attracting lateral CPA hires into accounting firms, into public accounting. It's a tough time. I think we should start a conversation about this on a probably monthly basis, and you're going to be seeing more invitations from us. So what I'd ask for you is send us an email or even comment to the question panel, of what you'd like to talk about. If I don't know the answer, I will bring in the best person in the industry to tell you the answer and to get your questions answered. Because some of the things on the checklist I'm going to give you today, we don't know about, but I do know people who are just fantastic at it. All right? So please check in. Use the question and answer panel, because that's how you can communicate to me. If you feel like I'm moving too slow or I'm moving too fast, or you want to ask a question, I've got my panel here expanded so I can look at it. And as you guys have checked in and said hi this morning, I'm seeing it come through, and I'll just verbally check in. So I'm going to try to end my presentation around 45 minutes after, and hopefully jump into questions with you guys. Challenge me. If you don't agree with the assertion I'm making, call me out. If you think it's right on, we'd love to hear that too. I guess what I'm trying to say is we're trying to build a community of accounting employers where we can share ideas, where we can challenge each other, where we can have success. Because a lot of you are recruiters, administrators, and HR, and trust me when I tell you, we are in the game of trying to find qualified talent as well, because that's our promise to our clients, and it's hard. It is a hard time. So we want to stick together and work together too and share best practices. Okay, so let's get going. Some of you I've met, some of you haven't. I just want to give you a quick background, just probably more so for the sake of credibility. I used to be a recruiter in the software industry. I'm not a CPA, although I did grow up in a CPA firm. My dad and his twin brother had an accounting firm, Phillips. I started working there when I was 13. I learned that I did not want to be an accountant, but I sure liked the people that worked in the accounting firms. After being a recruiter for a while, I went to Monster.com. So I'll tell you an interesting story about Monster. My job was using the internet to drive quality hires at really big brands. So Walmart, Shell, Dell Computer, JCPenney, and H&R Block, interestingly. So H&R Block is based in Kansas City. And did you know that every year H&R Block hires something like 30,000 tax preparers for a seasonal employment? And so my job at Monster, it wasn't actually to sell job postings. It was to design employment branding campaigns using internet advertising and sort of a strategic plan. I would sell that plan and implement it and be held accountable for the results. So we played a key role at Monster of driving a lot of those 30,000 hires. So just think about how many leads you'd have to get in the pipeline to deliver 30,000 hires and to execute on that. So I'm here to tell you if we can use internet recruiting to deliver 30,000 hires a year at H&R Block, we can find lateral hires with the right plan at accounting firms in the United States, no matter the location, truly. Founded Accountingfly with an incredible team 2 years ago, well, 3 years ago. We were called College Frog at first. Some of you may remember that, and then we became Accountingfly just a year ago. We specifically changed to help the industry solve the problem of hiring experienced talent. So we're in this problem with you. And I'm a dad. I've got 3 children. I've got a little baby, 2 months old. This is a picture of my kids meeting their little baby girl for the first time. All right. So thanks, Samantha. I got some feedback that the sounds are breaking up. So hopefully it's coming back on. GoToWebinar. You never know. All right. Why it's important to know employer branding is objective number 1. And really objective number 2 is I'm going to give you a checklist for employer branding. Okay? And let me define that for you. It means being an employer of choice, being different, and you knowing what that statement is, why it's different. And sometimes it is hard in public accounting to differentiate. You're going to have to. And when you really start to look into it, you really, really can. And then distributing that story very strategically. And I don't mean posting a job on Monster.com or your newspaper. That doesn't work anymore. Okay. So I heard this quote recently, and I wonder if you agree. The race for talent is over, and the talent won. It feels like that. I think especially in our industry, there is just a big challenge out there, and I don't know what the word is, but it's the opposite of unemployment. There are some markets in the United States right now, like Atlanta, where it's just incredibly difficult to hire a CPA. We are in this period where they have the leverage and they're calling the shots. And while there is talent out there and firms are making hires, it's just a completely different ballgame than it was during the last kind of peak economic period. It's hard to hire, but it's not impossible. The challenge is perceptions. So for those of you who sorry, one second. I want to check in real quick because somebody said they're seeing just the first slide. All right, so I want to check in real quick. I think I'm going to click a quick pause and make sure we're doing this right. Let's see here. Let's do this. All right, so let me check in with you guys real quick. Is this looking better? Yeah, thanks, Reagan. Okay, cool. All right, hopefully this sounds better too. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so it helps if you, it kind of helps to see the slide that I'm showing for the visual impact. Thank you so much for telling me. Right, so the race is over, the talent won. Oh, you didn't get to see a picture of my kid? Hold on, we got to back this up. Sorry. So this is the picture of Jack Francis and Mally the moment they met their baby sister. It is my prized photograph, prized possession, and just the look of joy is just incredible. So that's a 2-month-old Mally there now. And great. So thanks for bearing with me. The race for talent's over and the talent won. How many times has this happened to you? especially if you're an HR administrator, learning developer, learning development coordinator, etc. You know, you got the partner who comes in and says, hey, we're going to need 2 seniors by busy season in in 4 months. And you're responding and say, where do you expect me to find them exactly? And the partner is probably not typically aware, and they're going to say, listen, you'll find them. Here's a budget for $500. Hit up Monster, maybe the newspaper, and you'll be able to, I'm sure you'll be able to attract that talent. That day, and you know it, it's over, where we're going to be able to just post and pray, and in a month get a lateral hire. It's too challenging, it's too daunting, and one of our challenges together is just convincing at the CPA level, the partner level, that it doesn't work. It simply does not work, and you in asking me that request have put me in a position to fail. We're doing our part to try to explain this, but hopefully the next slide I'm going to show you is going to try to help you explain this to your partners. And for those of you who are CPAs on the call and you're in a partner position, you know, how many times have you been in the situation where a senior walks out the door, they take another opportunity? You know, I was in a room full of managing partners recently. There was 13 of them, and I asked them, how many of you have lost high-performing, profitable people in the last 12 months? So they all raised their hands. So we know it's happening. So you guys who are CPAs on the call, you get somebody who walks in and quits, and you are literally left just holding the bag without a backup plan, without talent to call, and you got to start from scratch. That puts you in a complete disadvantage, and then you're down the road of hurting the reputation of the firm because you don't have enough staff to complete the work, and you know you're hurting the profitability of the firm because you don't have the revenue producers who are going to get the work done. You know, I feel like it's time to get real about talent, what's really out there, and the best way to do the best that we absolutely can, because this is really happening. And this is on the meta level. This is a slide from Barry Melankin from the AICPA, and what it shows in essence is that there's more people graduating with an accounting degree than ever before. So the numbers are good. And in fact, Accounting Today did a study recently, or an article that said that accounting firms hired more college students than ever before, and that's good too. But you know what happens next. The number of people taking the CPA exam is dropping. And it's, you know, it's about back to like 2006, 2007 levels now. Why is that? Is that because people are losing interest in public accounting firms? Or is it because, well, I'll tell you my theory. I mean, I think that what we know happens is that people go to the Big Four, they get burnt out on public accounting, they view you as a mid-market of public accounting as the exact same as the Big Four, and they want to go to private industry, take a 30% pay raise, where they stay forever. So we're losing all these opportunities to hire people, and I think also there's a perception problem for public accounting of culture, of the hours I'm going to have to work, of the pay dues mentality, the face time mentality, the lack of flexibility. And those may be true in your firm, and if so, you're going to have a hard time. You're really going to have a hard time keeping good people. If it's not true, then let's tell that story. Okay? Let's work on that story together. So here's a checklist, and I'd be happy to send this off to you, but some of these things you might already be doing, and some of these things you might not. And I'm going to refer to this a few times in the presentation, but to go quickly, I would like to give this to you so that you could show this to your partners so that they understand sort of what's going on. You're dealing with a total employment labor market where we've got a shortage of talent that's also possibly losing interest in public accounting. That's the uphill battle you're facing, but there's a lot of ways to make hires because we are absolutely seeing that on Accountingfly literally every week. But you got to pay at the top end of the market for talent, and that doesn't mean you're going to pay the same as a private industry, so the pay as much as the hospital down the street, but you got to pay at the top end of the public accounting market. CPAs and accountants know that you're going to have to that a public job before you're a partner will probably pay less than a private industry job. But if you are paying less than your competitors in town, you're not going to get the talent. You got to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, I mentioned the example. This is a real example where a partner in Atlanta came to their recruiting director and said, "We need 2 or 3 seniors by January." And they said, "This may not happen. You should have started." In fact, they asked me, "When should we have started this process?" I said, "You should have started the process a year ago." And you should recruit 365. You should recruit all year long and have a new philosophy that says we are always open to talking to great talent. And you communicate that in your job postings, on your website, and in your interviews. We're always open. If you're good, we're always open. You have to respond quickly. I'm sure you've all felt this pain. We had a client who had a Big 4 IT audit manager level. Huge. He was relocating to this city, applied for a job on Accountingfly. The client waited 6 days to contact the candidate, and he was off the market. These are the realities of what we have to do, and hopefully you're doing these already. You offer flexibility, clear career path, meaning if you're a high performer, this is what's going to happen to you. We'll fast track you to partner. We'll set milestones so that you can get to the next promotion level easily. Maybe if they're a private industry candidate coming back into public and you've not had any success with that kind of hire in the past, you might say, let's put your raise in escrow, and you have to work at the associate level, even though you have more experience than that, but we're going to set some milestones, and as soon as you hit these milestones, the partner satisfaction, we'll vote you up into the senior position and give you that raise. Call us if you have questions about how to develop that from an HR standpoint. You've got to onboard very, very well. How many times does this happen? You're a recruiter, you're a salesperson, you're excellent at communicating the firm's culture and benefits, etc. Then they start their first day on the job on the audit team and nobody talks to them, and they disappear. They develop no social ties inside the organization, and they leave and go to their old job, or they leave. There's a disconnect in onboarding between the personality of the recruiter and what happens inside the team. And so if you listen to people like Rita Keller, Sandra Wiley, Bruce Tolgan, Bruce Tolgan's fantastic. They're talking about how to onboard an accountant into an accounting team successfully. Because look, what good is all this if they come and you set them up for failure? You got to understand the audience. I'm going to talk about the audience in a moment. And we're talking about millennial accountants. I wish there was another word for millennials. I'm kind of tired of saying it, but that is what it is. I want to show you 5 questions that you should answer in any communication to an accounting candidate through your website, through your job postings, your description, your company descriptions, your talking points. I want those 5 questions to be aligned so that every time you, your recruiting team, the CPAs on your team, etc., are talking to a candidate, at 3 o'clock in the morning when the candidate looks at your website because they just found out they're moving to your city, I want those points there. I want them on your Accountingfly profile, your Accountingfly job postings. Because the consistent drumbeat of a brand will flip candidates. Distribute an authentic message, the ways millennials consume information. All right, and this point is the entirety of this presentation, is what is content, what is video, how do you use images, how do you use social media, how do you take those, answer the 5 questions and create your talking points and then distribute and tell that story on a big enough scale to attract people, the right people, and repel the wrong people on a scale that you can hire. Okay, and now these are the types of things that Accountingfly does, and you'll see it in a moment. And you got to distribute across a wide platform, online, where this talent lives. So when I said earlier this this is a presentation about employer branding, but it's not really a marketing presentation. It's about the whole. But unless you're doing checklist items 1 through 5, you are probably wasting money if you're doing 6 through 10. But we can coach you on 1 through 5. But I know a lot of the firms on the call are actually doing 1 through 5 very well, and so that's good. So if you're there, good. You're halfway there. We can help you with the rest of these items on the call. So I'm going to jump around a little bit and talk about some of these different points. You know, understanding the audience, answering 5 questions, getting your website, your postings right, and distributing your recruitment branding. Just to give you some ideas of that it's possible, we're working with firms. So at the end of the call, I'll tell you about what Accountingfly does, but we're not a job board. We do sell job postings, but job postings are merely the landing page where a candidate might apply. And it turns out our job postings are really just a vehicle to get people to your website. But we do all kinds of advertising, marketing strategies, social media advertising that is all part of a marketing machine that we call inbound recruiting that serves to funnel targeted candidates to your job posting. And so you look at how we make hires. So 3 ways. This is the top 10 firm at the top. We're an applicant tracking system, and we import all of their college recruiting candidates. And that's important because one of your biggest pipelines of talent is the college pipeline. Even if you don't hire interns or entry level, you should be on campus putting them into a database like ours or any other one you want to. The principle is build a talent pipeline of everyone you interact with so that you can call them back even if they don't take your job today. So we have clients that are calling seniors who graduated 2 and 3 years ago. Okay, they didn't hire them off campus recruiting. They missed them. They went off to the Big 4, but now they're mining that database of talent and calling them. Okay, this is an automatic pipeline builder of quality candidates that you evaluated on the college level that you didn't hire that you can call back. That's the long game, but it's very, very important. In the middle, we have a firm with multiple locations who made 3 experienced hires and 1 entry-level hire in a very short period of time. And they have postings. They recruit 365. They do all kinds of employer branding, and they're part of our machine. But they're also aggressive employer branding people outside of just Accountingfly too. The last is a firm that's a teeny tiny firm, 2 partners, posted a job 11 days ago, and one of these jobs for a controller. There's 2 postings. One of the jobs is a controller position. I know that's not what you're probably hiring, but this is why I love employer branding and good online marketing. So we're a job board, and what people typically expect from a job board is a lot of trashy noise, you know, bartenders and zookeepers and et cetera, et cetera. This tiny firm posted a controller position. For their controller job, I think had 17 applicants. The other one had 13. And 15 of them were controllers, and one was a CPA from a Big 4. But these guys worked with us and our copywriters to write an excellent job posting. They have a great logo, and they have a really good brand, and I'm going to show you their job posting here in a few minutes. What these guys have in common is they're not posting and praying. What these guys have in common is they're using the 2015 version of online marketing to really attract talent, and they're doing a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today. TMP is a company that actually is expert in developing and communicating employer brand, and what that means to me is having a great place to work and then articulating the story and distributing it on social media through good content, aligning all your communications in the right way, whether it's a job posting, a company profile on LinkedIn, and every different place where you communicate. When you invest in this, you reduce your cost per hire by 50%. And in this day and age, we're almost not as worried about reducing costs as we are about just getting qualified applicants. But you better believe that a good brand attracts quality, and I'll prove it to you in a second. The thing that I wanted to tell you about is focusing on brand lowers your turnover rates by 1/3. Next is an article from the ERE, and this is about content. So how do we recruit people typically? Referrals, job postings, and headhunters. Word of mouth, but that's referrals. So referrals, job postings, and headhunters. Well, we don't really necessarily want to go with headhunters as much because there's a large cost, but job postings don't work, right? Well, I agree that job postings don't work. If you just post a job on Monster, you know what you're going to get. However, if you are developing content that is genuine and authentic and giving advice to job seekers, senior applicants, okay, people with 6 or more years of experience in this study, were shown to be more likely to apply to a posting if they saw your quality content. In other words, if they read a blog post that your senior partner wrote about how to get a job, why to stay in public accounting, et cetera, that a person, a senior applicant, is 300% more likely to convert into an applicant on your job posting if they associated quality content with your brand. Now, this is incredible because this allows a job board to work. This allows your career website to work because you're giving good advice or you're telling your story in a way that wants to be consumed in an authentic way. And what's an example of quality content? I'll tell you one thing that we do that's quality is we record videos with some of our clients that's kind of unscripted. It's a little bit organic. It doesn't feel like Steven Spielberg did not produce these videos, but they are professionally produced, but they're conversations, 10-minute conversations that we call Meet This Firm, and we ask these firms the exact same 5 questions over and over again. Then we distribute that over social media. The clients distribute that on their website and through their own social media. What do I mean by content? Well, first of all, let's define it. It's got to be authentic, okay? And I've learned this lesson the hard way at Accountingfly. We started out with writing a lot of content about how to write a resume, top 3 things you're doing wrong in your interview. And then we realized that is not attracting quality. And what we realized was that quality content attracts quality candidates. How do I know that? Well, it turns out as we started to develop more quality content, like the video, for example, we started getting higher quality applicants. We started getting better quality applicants. Our clients started seeing better quality applicants than they're getting from other resources. So not a lot of firms have the time to write a blog, especially around recruiting. I'll tell you, RBZ is one that they were just acquired by Armanino, but they had a partner, Charlie Osaki, and he is one of the best recruiters I've ever met. He was in charge of recruiting at RBZ, but he was an accounting partner. He wrote a regular blog that was heavily read in Southern California, and not once did he say you should work at RBZ. It was just a constant articulation of quality advice specific for lateral move accountants for mid-career CPAs, 2 to 10 years out. And they are a fantastic recruiting organization, and by the way, when you have a structure underneath you and you invest in recruiting and you invest in building a succession plan, no matter what size of firm, if the firm partners are looking to sell the firm, the better that pipeline underneath them, the higher the multiple of the acquisition, the longer they're going to get paid in retirement. So investing in quality candidates is so incredibly important. But writing a blog focused on recruiting, developing infographics that speak to interesting things maybe at your firm or out in the industry. Putting images, and what I mean by images is pictures in any social media posts, obviously, in your how many times have we been on an accounting firm's website with stock image photography because they wanted to save money? We've tried stock images and we've tried real images, and trust me, real images are better and they're worth the minor premium that you pay on it. And that includes in your social media posts. Your LinkedIn profile, your Accountingfly profile, your postings, and your website. So we've got to get away from this sort of corporate HR talk and be direct with these accountants and these job seekers because they can sniff out the BS. I want to give you just a quick talk about the audience that we're talking to. Millennials who are accountants and their perceptions. Jacqueline here, I did a presentation with these three ladies at XeroCon, and we asked Jacqueline, what did any small firms recruit at your campus at University of Maryland? And she said, yes, one small firm came to our campus. It was Cohn Resnick. Now, Cohn Resnick is a top 10 firm in the country. And what it realizes is we've got to do a good job if you're in the mid-market of telling your story. And that's why branding is so important. They want flexibility, and they want you to communicate to them that they're trusted, that they can get their work. If they have to take care of a personal errand, that they will have the trust to come in on Saturday and finish the work. Not, the sort of behind your back, oh, you're not coming in, she's not a good team player. They want to know that you trust them to get the work done. And yes, the partner level, you didn't have that same benefit, and it was different. But times have changed, and we have to adjust. Jacqueline said that she speaks for her generation when she says that the place where she wants to work must be committed to community service, and not on a token level. I thought that was fascinating. Liz here worked at a very large firm in the top 15, and didn't last long. She ended up going in and starting her own accounting firm. And I hear this over and over again. I talked to the recruiter, and the recruiter was great. Then I showed up, and something was different. And it's either maybe the values, you articulate your values in your communications to me as a candidate, and I showed up and I saw people doing things that weren't consistent with those values, and I am gone. I'm gone. And Liz literally lived true to her word. She was at a larger firm. She saw values that were printed clearly on the website and the job description, and she saw lots of people, managers, not living those values out, and she quit. This generation is not afraid to quit their jobs, if you haven't noticed. And a lot of you may know Rebecca from the Maryland Society of CPAs. She's wonderful. And one of the things that Rebecca had an interesting, she also started out in a firm. And Rebecca was a CPA, and she found out that she really wanted to work with people. She wanted to work in the recruiting department, but that wasn't a fit for her firm. And her advice is help young leaders identify where they fit best. We will trade hard work if you will give us the opportunity to learn our career path. And when she wasn't offered that, she left. So the other sort of clarity here you have to provide is if you are a high performer, we as your employer are going to give you certain benefits. You're going to be treated unfairly better than other people because you're a star. And you have to do that because they're going to leave. This is a generation that is going to just switch jobs. And one of the reasons is because they're curious. They're looking for other opportunities, and maybe you can't control it, and that's just you have to go with the flow here. But certain ways to not do it is by not aligning sort of the sales pitch with the product, the values with the experience, not allowing them to develop as a career, not involved in the community, and not offering flexibility. Luckily, I know a lot of you, and a lot of you are already doing a lot of these things, but you can't craft a message if you don't understand who you're talking to. Did you notice that all three of these examples were women, by the way? I did not realize that until I started putting this presentation together, that the three people who I'm kind of in awe of all these young ladies because they are we spent weeks together building a panel presentation for a big conference at XeroCon. But I wonder if these women showed up at your firm and they saw the makeup of the partners and the demographics in the firm, what they would think. So, a lot of firms that need to be articulating a desire to increase women in the workforce in the organization and women in the leadership in the organization. Because I'm pretty sure that females there's a majority of women majoring in accounting over men, narrowly. Okay, so let's talk about the communication. Happy to send this out, but what we found in researching tens of thousands of young accountants and hundreds of firms is boiling down the communications and your brand into 5 questions. Okay, we ask these accountants, these young accountants, what matters more, the job description or what the firm's all about? 99 to 1, they said, I care about the firm. The job titles are kind of all the same. Why work in our size firm? Please start here. Why? Because people like Jacqueline think that Cone Resnick is a small firm. So if you're Salt Marsh here in Pensacola with how many, maybe 25 to 30 partners, she must think that's like a sole proprietorship. Why work in your size firm? And I know the answer. And when I talk to Big 4 accountants who never interviewed with any of you, I mean, and like from the big top 10 on down, they don't understand the lifestyle difference, the hours difference, the ability to make an impact in your community difference, the ability to make really good money as a partner. Why aren't we talking about that, by the way? If you know, it is a fact that the mid-market and public accounting, tiny firms, all public accounting is right for a lot of these people who are leaving the industry. But tell your story why the size is important. Tell it by giving profiles of people who are leaders in your firm, with asking them authentic questions, giving them authentic answers. The values of the firm. Hopefully those are articulated, and they need to be communicated. What are values? Values are habits, characteristics, behaviors that you want high performers to have in your firm, that you expect of people. That should be articulated in everything that you produce. Why should you trust your career to your firm? This is your softball, hit it out of the park question. You should trust your career. First of all, what a sign of respect to a candidate. You should trust your career to us because we will develop you, we will train you with technical skills, we will offer you flexibility, and we're in the middle of reinventing ourselves, and you get to have a leadership seat at that. Give them some talking points that your recruiters and your CPAs and your website, your job postings can remind over and over and over again. What will your future look like if you're effective? If you have the same partnership trajectory that your partners went through, that's not very exciting. But if that's the case, you got to articulate it because you got to set clear expectations. What is the culture like? Is it buttoned down? If it is, we work with very conservative accounting firms who still, men wear jackets to work. If it is, articulate it. You got to say it. You got to show pictures of it. If it's casual, for example, if it's kind of silly, it's fun, you have to articulate all of this stuff. And so I would ask you to make a couple bullet points, for yourself under these, because every communication you're going to produce is going to have these elements in it. And you know what else? I would coach the people that go to your on-campus interviews, the people that do your on-site interviews on these talking points, and you let them spend the first 5 minutes of every interview they give describing these points. Now, what's better? The partner or a young staff associate you have in your recruiting team, and during an interview they tell a candidate, well, our firm has 60 people, we have an office on Interstate 85, on Fridays we get to wear polo shirts. That is not preferable to, we're a mid-sized firm that's looking to grow by 50% in the next year. We own a niche in healthcare. Our values are integrity, honesty, and fun. You should trust your career to this firm because we respect the fact that we're going to develop your entire career. We are going to develop you for a lifetime of learning, for a lifetime of growth, whether you stay here or not. And if you are effective, we'll commit to you that you'll make partner, fast if you do this and this and this, and it will take this long. And you know what? Let me tell you about our culture, because this is the best thing about our firm. And you tell stories. So that's a good description of an organization, and everybody has a different story there. So this is the foundation of a recruitment brand. It's not a logo. Now, a logo is important, but it's not call your design team, call your advertising agency, and put a logo together with all the partners' names again and just sort of reshuffle it. It starts with what is the heart of the organization and what are you going to communicate in every verbal, written, digital, and social and video communication. Okay. These things have to be on your website, and I feel sorry for a lot of you because it's hard to change websites at a lot of accounting firms, although we're starting to see a lot better websites. You know, you can control the copy, and so you can sort of start to answer your 5 questions and do 2 things easily. Give it to a copywriter to start to articulate it, circulate it around the organization to get feedback, and get that on your website. RBZ, I mentioned them earlier, they built a rbzcareers.com, which they just pulled down because it was a great site, but they were bought by Armanino, or merged with Armanino, so they're not there anymore. But this had a blog, it had some news about the site and industry news. It was a really nice resource. The fact of the matter is that there's so much traffic going to your website. I know because we're posting probably 40 candidates a month for average posting to a website. And I have a fear that people are dropping off when they look at the websites. Or they find you on Google, or they get referred to you. And, you know, partners and CPA firms are not spending a lot of money on marketing to begin with, but maybe they are. Whatever's sort of baked into that marketing recruitment budget, it's all going towards marketing. So we got to pull a little bit of that budget away from marketing into recruiting so we have really quality sites. Social media is important. Merely the way that I think about social media. If any of you guys are in like Association of Accounting Marketing, because this call was advertised in your magazine, and we may have different interpretations of this, but here's my take: is that you answer those 5 questions earlier, and every post is an image or it's a piece of text that is reminding people, your audience, of answering those questions. And it's not a sales pitch. It is something that shows images, and it is sort of this punch jab mentality of social media where you're doing value, and then maybe you make an ask, or maybe you promote an event or something like that. What if you're small? What if you're a small firm, you know, resources for this? You can pay there are local people in your town you could pay between $300 and $500 a month to own all of your social media accounts for you, and they make it very custom for you. This is not a big expense, but it will drive traffic, because one of the things that Facebook is so interesting. Facebook is so interesting because it's something like 40% of all internet traffic is delivered through Facebook. Facebook is this massive advertising engine, and because it's contextual, you can put your posts in the timelines of accountants in Pensacola, Florida. So you keep posting recruiting messages or videos like your Meet This Firm video. You put it in front of these candidates in a targeted way, even if they don't like you. So for a very small budget, you can actually start to acquire getting your content in front of these guys. All right. So I've got a little bit I'm going to talk about Accountingfly, but I'm going to check in with you for a minute and see if there's any questions, and take a break, because I've been talking and you are probably sick of hearing me talk for now. And you know, again, tell me if this is helpful, or if this is if you think I'm full of hot air. I'm going to take a drink of coffee and then sort of talk a little bit more about Accountingfly. Any questions over any of this that I can address? Okay, great. Okay, so the base point, I want to get back to the checklist quickly. That's where we're going to go next. Okay. So back to the checklist. Pay top dollar for lateral talent down through onboard very well. We're going to take that off the table for right now because I'm assuming you're doing that well. But if you're not, we could spend time together just to talk about how to do these. I mean, just to talk about how to respond quickly is important, and I mean within a couple of hours, quick. When you get an applicant on Accountingfly, we email you so you can ping and you can jump in and respond to the candidate. Most job boards do that. Understanding the audience. So your lateral movers are anywhere between 2 and 10 years of experience. People change jobs at years 2 and 5. So if you're doing college recruiting, put them into Accountingfly or some other applicant tracking system and then contact them. Have an admin call them. Add them to your newsletter database and call them 2 years from now and 5 years from now. Mine that talent. So those first 7 or 8 items, you're going to have to do. You're going to have to influence your organization to change if they're not doing it. And we can come in and actually show them the proof why they must if necessary. Number 3, 4, and 5, that's about distributing the message. And there's a lot of ways to do it. We have built one that I think is pretty remarkable. I want to tell you about it, and I'll also talk about a few other options as you're doing it. But you've got to align the message. So answer those 5 questions, get online, and start to cast a net, a digital net. What I don't mean is monster.com postings. And what I do mean is being a little more strategic about these things. What are the very best options as we go into like talking about digital? Well, first of all, you're going to have to just have the right brand, the right message, which hopefully those 5 questions start to provoke that. And then you're going to want to distribute it. So I want to give you some examples of branded content that is valuable. And then you're going to have to distribute across a super wide platform. You have to do it online, and you have to do it where they are. And by where they are, I mean 25 to 34-year-old CPAs, non-CPA accountants, male and female, residing in the United States. That's your demographic. There's only 1 million accountants in the United States, so it's a fairly small group. But what we do know is this. We took a survey of young accountants on going concern, and 30% of them said they were looking to change jobs in the next 12 months. And what was more interesting was that 70% of them said they wanted to work when they changed jobs in a public accounting firm. Right? It's very interesting. So Accountingfly. I just went all over the presentation here. So a little bit about Accountingfly and how this is a distribution channel for you. When we launched Accountingfly and we transitioned from College Frog, we had about 400 experienced job seekers per month. We've now reached 12,000 job seekers per month. These are CPAs. We tend to have high quality applicants, but low quantity of applicants. Your job posting on Accountingfly, we've done the research because we plug this into a very wide distribution network. We put them on Indeed. We put them on Jobs to Careers, Juju.com, the 3 largest websites for jobs in the world. And your job will come up in 20,000 searches in a month. On average, 60 times somebody will look at your job on Accountingfly. And so we're getting traffic. What we have found is the job postings that are well written, that have branded, they just tend to do a lot better than ones that don't. And sometimes you're in markets that are absolutely really difficult to hire. But this is a really, really great shot. We develop content for our clients like the video, and we believe in the Recruit 365 philosophy that we've come up with that is essentially always be open. That open sign is always hanging in your door. If you're a good talent, somebody's going to respond, somebody's going to talk to you. And we built an applicant tracking system. So at the center of all this is job postings. We just do a lot of what we call our machine of marketing that drives traffic to the job postings to get a ton of impressions, more than you're going to get in really other job board. Job postings are just merely landing pages. You know, your job postings on your website or Accountingfly are merely just places where candidates need to land and either take one of 2 actions, one of 3. They are either going to do nothing, they are going to take an action like apply, or they're going to maybe subscribe for an email because maybe they're more passive than you want them to be. We give you a platform to tell your story through images on your profile, through copy. You can link back to your website because we recognize the fact that a lot of people will see accounting, will originate interest in your firm, and a lot of them will go to accounting to your website to learn more. As our profiles get more sophisticated, we're hoping that it can be kind of this one-stop shop for candidates to learn about your firm. But these pictures rotate in and out, and I think it's a really great way to tell your story through images. And then when we shoot videos for our clients, we also can link those to the postings as well. I just wanted to show you this one excellent posting, because when we started working with this small firm, our hiring advocate, Beth, and the copywriter on our staff, Kelly, worked with the client to develop an internet-ready job posting. All right, and I only can give you the sort of the first piece of it because of the screen share size, but the first thing is got a link right into the website. The first paragraph is why this is a great place, a great company on the move, and a great place to work. And then they went right into a bullet list of actually what we're looking for. I haven't seen the word accounting except for in that first sentence to describe the business in there. It didn't start with requirements and duties. It's like, look, we are an outstanding place to work because of a few reasons, and these are the types of people we're looking for. And if you're this type of person, keep reading. So these guys have had great success for a very small firm in a short amount of time, and just because they got some basics right, and they worked with our team in developing it to make the job posting internet ready. We produce webinars, just another way to drive traffic in different cities around the country, where we talk to our community that we've built of young CPAs about the top public accounting jobs. And you know what we say? We say we are trying to tell you that you should go work at firms that offer flexibility, a clear career path. They're gonna pay well for public accounting market jobs, and here are some in Chicago that do just that. And we give them a call to action. And we're in full disclosure. We tip 90% of the companies we promote are Accountingfly clients, but some of the ones we aren't. But we're not showcasing all of our clients. We're trying to connect them with great jobs. We're trying to influence the accounting market to be great places to work by promoting that. Try virtual events. We certainly don't own the only two in the industry, but try them, whether it's these or others. National Meet the Firms Week is coming up in about a month and a half. We're partnering with the AICPA, their PCPS group, and that is going to be a phenomenal experience because we're going to teach accounting students across the country why they should stay in public accounting. So firms can put free job postings that reach college students on Accountingfly now through October 23rd, but the sooner the better. One reason to do this, even if you don't do college recruiting, is to start telling your story, telling your 5 answers to college students today. You will benefit from it in the future because you're beginning to brand to them now. So a couple of thoughts about other places to distribute. I would get involved in Twitter, and if you're not, if I would get your partners involved in Twitter, and I would get them attached to doing this, or pay somebody to manage your Twitter account. Lastly, what is LinkedIn all about? LinkedIn is a great sourcing tool. Their LinkedIn Recruiter product is about $11,000 per user annually, but it's kind of like this hybrid ATS and search feature. But I have had people who have had some success with LinkedIn, but the price is fairly high. Indeed is the largest job board in the world. I would tell you to post there, except for that when you buy a firm partnership with Accountingfly, you get unlimited jobs, and out of those fees that you pay us, we actually post those jobs, and you get a high placement rate in Indeed for you. So Indeed's a great place. We kind of have that covered. But I would be on Twitter. I would investigate LinkedIn, build a company profile, have your staff all have LinkedIn profiles, and when you post a job through your LinkedIn profile, like you'd post a status update that you're hiring something that links to an Accountingfly job or a job on your website, have everyone on your team share that. You would be staggered at how many impressions that would generate. So a couple of calls to action here. Accountingfly, if you have an interest in talking to Accountingfly further about how we could create a custom marketing plan for you that includes unlimited job postings, but also all of the content that drives traffic to those postings, send me an email, and either me or Judy Shriver, who heads up our market strategy department, will get in touch with you. My email's right there. Secondly, if you'd like a copy of the presentation or you'd like just a checklist in a PDF format, send me that as well. If you'd like to just talk about what's going on in the market in a non-sales environment, send me an email. The other two pieces of feedback is would you give us feedback on the presentation and maybe did this meet your expectations? You know, give us a rating on it. I would like to have you back for another presentation and talk about things like applicant tracking systems, recruiting process, getting your accounting staff in on the recruiting and how to hold them accountable for recruiting so that's not all on you, and show you some case studies of how companies are doing that. So I would encourage you to give me an email. Either myself or Judy will follow up with you. And as we wrap up here, I'll tell you the last piece of how we basically offer a package where you can have unlimited job postings for a year and be entered into our marketing machine of distributed over Indeed job postings and the other job posting networks, of social media distribution. We actually record a video for you like I showed you earlier, and then we buy advertising targeting accountants in your location on Facebook. We consult, offer you a hiring advocate who's like another member of your HR team whose sole job is to make sure that Accountingfly is delivering you applicants, and if it's not, we adjust and we try harder. I think if you talk to anyone who works with us, you would find that we're in this fight with you, truly, whether you're a client or not, and you want to just stay around the community. So if you were interested in learning about those packages, email me and either Judy or I will get in touch with you. What else can we talk about in the last 30 seconds that we have together? Are there any questions that you have? I do have one quick question. I will read it and then answer it for you. Is just how do we get candidates? Okay, fair question. Because by the way, that is absolutely the hardest thing, and and it's incredibly difficult. But we've spent 3 years in the crosshairs of this problem. So our traffic has increased 30 times in 14 months, and that is primarily through developing a nonstop quantity of great content. It was terrible at first, and it's getting better and better and better as we go, using things like video, getting social media right. And so that's what we do for our clients, is leverage leverage content to get people to your job postings. Job postings in and of themselves are not very valuable. It's the marketing that goes into it that drives candidates, right? But we get candidates through our content, and we advertise that content. We leverage our relationship with our clients and promote the heck out of their brand. And in doing so, we drive traffic to us and our clients. We get SEO and how that is supposed to work. And the last thing is, I don't know if I told you this earlier, but we acquired Going Concern, the alternative news alternative news website, goingconcern.com. That is part of our team now, and I'll tell you why. Because they get 150,000 unique visitors every single month, and that audience demographic is 2 to 7 years. That is their sweet spot. And 30% of those have told us that they're looking to change jobs. There isn't a better audience in the world to reach millennial accountants than Going Concern. And so now our clients are benefiting from that traffic as well. We've had a nice spike in traffic ever since letting the Going Concern audience know. And it's our job to teach them about their career options across public accounting. So that's how we got traffic, is through, well, in our events. We do National Meet the Firms Week. We do an advanced virtual career fair. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. I would be grateful if you could email me and tell me if this was valuable or not. And if it wasn't, why? What could we do better? Give us a score, and we'll be back in about a month with another topic. If you'd like to hear about a topic, email us. We would love to keep in touch, love to see if you're a fit, if we could help you on the recruiting side, and hope that you'll come back to more of these sessions in the future. So for now, I'm Jeff Phillips. I'm going to sign off. I hope that this hour has been helpful. It has been fun for me to talk to you about this, and have an awesome rest of the week and a great Labor Day weekend. So bye for now.